I'm the Alchemist Astrologer, and this is your May forecast for Cancer Sun, Cancer Rising, and Cancer Moon. So what's at the heart of the matter for you during this month? There's a feeling that you've been held back. You want to manifest something. And whatever this is, perhaps there's a risk factor to it. There's something safe, familiar versus something that drives your passion, your ego, your desire. Now, you may feel like your hands are tied. Maybe you feel like you're experiencing some kind of creative block, or you don't have enough information, or you find yourself in a conundrum of sorts where you can't move forward. You feel blocked. And perhaps it's because there's some dream that you have. Maybe you're working on a project and you're not able to come up with ideas. In some cases, maybe this is something like, moving your office or moving to a smaller space. And maybe you feel confined or claustrophobic. Maybe you want to change your residence. For some of you, there's a connection to a fire sign. This could be an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female, or just the traits of this night. This is a night who wants to get going. So right away, we can see that somebody wants to rush into something and move forward, but they feel as if their hands are tied, that they can't do it for whatever reason. Could be that they're failing to see the truth or deal with certain emotions. So the Knight of Wands is somebody very passionate, very fiery. He wants to get going. He's got his eye on a prize. The problem is there's a lack of commitment. He may start something with a lot of enthusiasm, but he fails to follow through. And you enjoy his company, whoever this Knight of Wands is. This is somebody who is very magnetic, very flirtatious. They know how to show you a good time. They've got a zest for life, enthusiasm. But this person may be very self-oriented. Maybe they constantly look out for themselves and perhaps a little bit too much. There's something that's going to occur during the month where you feel trapped by circumstances that are outside of your control. It could be that there's some extra work. Maybe it involves a project or making some changes that you didn't expect. And all of a sudden, you're bound to something that you didn't see coming or couldn't have prevented. Extra work is on your desk, more responsibilities, a change of direction. Something causes you to have to make a change that you weren't prepared to deal with. And it creates some frustration, possibly a little bit of anger. But whatever this is, it's passing. It's nothing major. And you get with the program and adjust. There's also a timing issue, and maybe that connects to this last minute notice of something. There's a timing issue where timing is off. Your intuition is not on mark. Maybe you were thinking something was going to pan out and it fell through. Or perhaps you thought something wasn't going to work out and indeed it does. And now you're having to rush to get with the program. So there's a lack of commitment to something and where you feel bound and tied. Now, in the past, this idea of rushing into something may have had to do with this emperor, perhaps an Aries sign, or just a very strong male figure or a strong authoritative entity. The emperor can represent, institutions that hold power, banks, government, the company, or people, decision makers, strong masculine energy. And there's a desire to take control. And in fact, control is an issue right now. Something in the past has driven up your concerns about security. It may tie to travel, perhaps a vehicle, some celebration of sorts, or some new possibility, some new doorways opening. And you would like to take control, or you want it to. And so very recently you were at the beginning or the end of a very stressful situation where your security, your sense of belonging was at stake. Perhaps you were trying to establish something and put it on solid footing. It may have been a project, it may have tied to a change of residence, real estate, company, business, making some important decisions that affect your long-range plans. Now, maybe you wanted to personally empower yourself in some way, or you were dealing with people of authority. This is a very strong leadership role, and that's an issue right now. Who is in charge, and how is the power being used? Negatively, this is, a person who tries to perhaps enslave others. He wants to see them trapped. He dominates, he's overbearing, he's aggressive, he's a control freak. He's got to be in charge. There's a tyrannical influence running through a situation. Positively, he takes charge, he makes decisions, he's a mover and shaker, he makes things happen. And so for some of you, those are issues, taking control of a situation. And in fact, you may be given more authority or power. Or you may be facing the music where there's been some indecision, some instability. This also has to do with indecision. And perhaps, again, it's creating this feeling of being stuck, unable to move forward, some uncertainty because maybe all of the facts are not known, or you're waiting for something to change. Perhaps you're in conflict with someone, or you are the instigator of conflict, or on the other hand, maybe you're the mediator for it. Perhaps you're waiting for a truce. There's been a lack of commitment, an indecision about who's in control or taking control of something. And a recent revelation that has caused some indecision or uncertainty. Somebody's sitting on the fence and they're going to have to make a call. Now, presently, there's a tie to the past. This decision has to do with the past. It may connect to a child, someone from your childhood, an ex, an old lover, the repercussions of something that occurred in the past. There's a decision about goodwill, exchanges with others, reciprocity. So you may be making decisions about something that happened in the past and now reaping the reward or the karma of that action. So you may be hearing from someone from your past. Maybe you have to make a decision connected to that, whether you will reach out or you will respond to that. On the other hand, if something hasn't gone very well, there were some control issues, a stressful situation where there's been a lack of commitment, there could be issues where you have to make a decision to contact somebody that perhaps you would rather avoid. Maybe, again, something was held back. A decision needed to be made tied to the past. And you can't figure out what to do. And therefore, nothing is moving. There's no activity, there's no forward movement, there's no communication. Now, for some of you, maybe you're at peace with that. You've made peace that, you're stuck for now. Or you haven't heard from someone, you can't reach out, or you can't respond. You're not necessarily thinking of the worst case scenario. You're just coming to terms with, this is not the right time. But for others of you, this is like burying your head in the sand, hoping that an issue is going to resolve itself or work itself out without you actually saying something. There's some kind of change taking place. Maybe you're waiting for change. Somebody may be waiting for an apology or a detailed explanation of why certain events occurred. And one of you may be holding out on that. You'd rather just sweep something under the rug. That's your way of dealing it. There is a lack of leadership that causes the uncertainty because of the lack of commitment to take control of a situation where it ends up all parties are stuck. Nothing is moving forward because no decision is made about the events that have occurred in the past. But what does the future hold? You have the Four of Pentacles, the Two of Wands, and the Hierophant. So you're going to have to do some kind of review where, maybe you're looking at your assets, your property, real estate, business, and protecting yourself. Something is revealed. You're having to take a closer look at a situation that connects to your security. For some of you, it may tie to a Capricorn person. There could also be a Taurus person involved. So, you may be really trying not to rock the boat. You want to maintain the status quo. So you're overly cautious. There could also be issues of selfishness and greed. So this is a time period in the future where you're going to have to be looking at your value system. It's a good time to cautiously explore business opportunities. Now, for some of you, maybe you're working on a project. You're going to connect to someone from your past who appreciates something you've done before, and they're going to open a doorway for you connected to business or some kind of financial opportunity. For others of you, you're looking at the lack of commitment where perhaps somebody's been holding out, protecting themselves, and it may tie to a child or the past. There's been some selfishness or being overly cautious of protecting your heart or protecting your feelings. You're certainly looking at holding on to every dime that you have. So whatever you're involved in, there's caution that may be warranted, or again, there could be some petty selfishness where somebody's counting every penny. They need to be controlled, and there's no forward movement because somebody's holding the funds. Now, you're going to look at your value system in the future. You're going to need to decide whether if what you're holding on to is indeed costing you much more than it's worth. You're doing a review. Maybe you're going over your finances. There's something that you're enchanted with. Maybe, you're saving up to buy this thing, or you're wasting a lot of money on something that you're drawn to, but you're doing a review. It may be a job offer. It could be to travel. It could be to join forces with someone. It could be to prove a point if you're trying to empower yourself or stand up to somebody who has held you back. So you're looking toward the future, and you're going to have to make sure you have all of the information, that you can't be blinded or uncertain about something. You don't have the luxury of that, to just sit around and wait for something to change. You're going to have to know the facts, have a vision of what you want to accomplish, and be bold enough to go after it. Acting on your conviction, your own personal power and will. However, if you are out of touch with reality, you're likely to get a very strong reality check. And if you're waiting or hesitant or holding out because you have some kind of doubt or lack of confidence, it's likely that somebody else is going to step in and take your opportunity, or they're going to manipulate you or intimidate you. So as you can see, power is a very strong theme of your reading. You also have the Hierophant. There's something secretive about what is expected. This could be a period where you're reviewing, going over finances, business, and maybe you're getting a lot done. Some of you may be dealing with institutions. It could be, again, banks, companies, education institutions, churches. It's about authority. Who decides what's right and what's wrong? So you're looking over your value system and what is expected. What are the rules? What should have been done, and according to whom? You're also, this underlying energy that's pushing events is this Two of Pentacles and trust. So a strong focus on resources, whether you have enough, and juggling multiple responsibilities or opportunities. Now, if this is a good thing, maybe you're involved in commerce. You are selling something, you're preparing goods to be shipped out, you're making money, you're putting your goods or your services out there. Maybe there's a job offer on the table. So you're juggling multiple opportunities. You're skillfully navigating whatever is happening. because you trust yourself, your instincts, your intuition. You may know what sells, what is popular with the public. For others of you, though, you may need to, look at whether you can trust whether you are protected. You may feel very vulnerable, and you recognize those vulnerabilities because you don't have enough. In fact, you're shuffling your funds from one account to the other to pay for something. You're on this emotional roller coaster because of what's going on, and you're having to make some adjustments right now given the circumstance. So you're having to deal with some choppy waters and try to come out on top of a situation. So again, in the future, you're going to be doing a review, taking this cautious approach, trying to be practical in the way you deal with people, the reality of a circumstance as far as what is expected, what should be done, what are the guidelines, what are the rules. It's possible that somebody's not meeting expectation, that they're holding out. There have been some inconsistencies in speech and behavior that is finally catching up, and somebody's having to face the music for not coming through and doing what they said they would do. Now, the point of issue is this review of the past, whether this ties to a child, an old lover, an ex, the repercussions, maybe even a medical situation that wasn't properly attended to in the first place. There's some kind of review taking place that has to do with the past. The past is very important right now. And this review is, you're reviewing whether there's been a lack of commitment, whether there's the ability to move forward on something, whether the timing is right. There's some frustration, though. Maybe it centers around a settlement or some kind of third-party interference or a breakdown in the negotiations. What to do about this last-minute situation where you've been held back because of some uncertainty, some dilemma where somebody needs to make a choice. And you're now weighing your options about property, investments, the value of something, what it's worth, are you protected? This is going to center on agreements, contracts, and whether everybody's on the same page. And there's a focus on exchanges, transactions, the development of ideas. Now you have two major cards. You have the Emperor and the Hierophant. And so the keys for each of those cards would mean taking the initiative to be a leader, your best self, your leadership skills, the power to determine your own future and your own security. And the Hierophant is about being original. You're having to look at whether the old order is appropriate, or is it time for some new changes, something modern, a different direction, thinking outside of the box, and where perhaps there's been some procrastination that's holding you back. Now, number 4 is a very important number for you during this period. So it's about setting that foundation, the stage of initial stability. And again, it relates to your security, your peace of mind, your sense of belonging. And this is going to be a period where there is an uptick in activities that relate to the material and your domestic affairs. Now, there could be a lack of introspection. Even though you have this 4 of Swords here, where somebody may be going within or meditating or taking a break or thinking about some things. Maybe you've been held back from doing something you want. Maybe you wanted to travel or take a vacation. But there's a lack of introspection here, a lack of nurturing sensitivity or understanding within this circumstance. And we can clearly see that there's a lack of decisiveness. Perhaps, one of you doesn't have power or outer authority. If this is you, it may not be the best time for you to act. There's nothing fresh or playful about your circumstances, and it could be that there's a lack of humility as well. Now, for some of you, there's a penchant for drama, or you're very clear on trying to simplify something because something is beyond your control. You're ending on the Hierophant, so matters may not be completely in your hands. There's a desire to accommodate others, but to suit yourself and still do the right thing. So for some of you, you're grappling with a conflict of interest. Whatever's going on now, this is a smaller portion of a larger matter that still has yet to unfold more slowly, more dramatically. And again, there's some trust issues. You're weighing your options about what to do. What's your question? Where am I with my health goals? Where do I want to be? Why am I not there? What will it take for me to feel well? So right now, you need to feed your body what it needs to feel nourished, appreciated, loved. And you need to make some new exciting goals to take your health to the next level. So for some of you, this is all about recuperation. Maybe something, maybe you're in the hospital or you're a hospital patient. Maybe you work at a hospital. There's some indecision about the guidelines. Maybe you feel stuck or you're holding yourself back. Some medical issue from the past may be coming up for review. You're looking at protecting yourself, doing what's expected. And you may feel some emotional ups and downs. You need to be responsible for your own health and well-being. The answer is face the music. So if you haven't been doing what you need to, this is a time where, the past is finally going to catch up with you. And you're going to have to determine if what you're doing is actually working. Something is going to be revealed that has been a secret, and it may tie to something that you were drawn to, whether that's been healthy or not. You're ending on this 5, so some kind of change or drama or conflict is in the works. You're going to have to face the music for that.